What's up, guys? It's Migs here. Market just closed. I'm gonna go ahead and do a recap for the day. I ended up, let's see, $151 in the red today, unfortunately. So let me go through these trades real fast. So I had Netflix that had reported earnings yesterday after the market closed, and I was eyeing it. Let's see here. I was eyeing it for a short. Actually, probably look a little bit better on the um, here we go. On the 5 minutes. So initial spike at the reporting of earnings right here. It kind of leveled out flat and then it started selling off. So now what I was thinking initially was short under 200. So I stuck to that plan. So now let's see here. So market had initially opened right above the $200 mark. During this time, it was really volatile, so I didn't even really touch it, and I just give it a couple of minutes and see what it was going to do. So it faded off under 200, but I didn't take this initial short here because it was too early on, and I didn't want to have to base my risk off of 202 or anything like that. So what I did is I waited for a pull up. So I was waiting for it to pull up and then start fading off again. So it pulled up, give me the initial short right here at the $200. It being a major whole number for the stock. So it pulled up and then I took the short right here at 941. So I took the short right here under 200, and it initially faded down almost a whole dollar. So down here I could have covered, but it just basically flashed down really fast and I was not able to cover. I thought it was just going to keep fading off, but what it did is it actually held the 9, which is this yellow line right here. So it actually ended up closing above the 9. Next candle was green. My stop was about 50 cents, and then it kicked me out. So right here, I put a stop loss order over $200.50. It triggered here, so it basically just flashed up and it kicked me out. So 100 shares down on Netflix. Now the next trade was on MS. Morgan Stanley is what it was. Let's see here. So I took, let's see, 945. Actually, that's the, let me back out here. Took it at 945. So let's see here, right here, 945 at 49.97. So my initial thought was I wanted to see it. I wanted to take it long over 50. But this first initial candle, I just was not paying attention to the stock at the very beginning. I think I was trying to trade Netflix. So I was looking at Netflix, and I was trading that, and then this had spiked up way over 50 and never really gave me a shot to try to get into it. It didn't hover around this price at all. It just kind of shot up. So I was waiting for a pullback, and as it sold off, it started curling back up. When it curled back up, I was expecting it to hit right at 50. I saw a couple orders for, let's see here. Yeah, so I saw a couple orders. You see the high there is 49.99, and I was anticipating for 50 to break. As soon as I did, I got in 500 shares long at 49.97. Let's see here. But it got rejected by the whole number and actually started fading off. I sold all 500 shares down about 30 cents. So right about here. So I sold it right around here. It kicked me out. So that was my second loss. Unfortunately, that was an anticipation play. I didn't actually see 50.01 go through. I was just anticipating that was going to happen, and I was definitely wrong on that one. That one kind of hurt a little bit. That loss was almost $200. So it's 196. Now let's see here. Next trade is on COTY. COTY. As you can see, it's a considerable, pretty big down gap from 1680. from 1680, and it just sold off right off the bat. So it pulled up a little bit, and we actually, I think I took a short around 16. Yeah. So the break of 1610, I think it was that I took the short in. So yeah, down here. So down here. Yeah. So the break is 1610 here, because initially it pulled down, it pulled back a little bit. I should have shorted it probably a little bit higher, somewhere around 1620 or so. But I guess I took the breakdown completely, and it just started hovering around this. My initial fill was at 1607. Let's see, at what time was that at? It was at 9:59. So I got filled in this candle right here. So it just kind of flushed down. I got filled in at 1607, and it just would not break down past the whole number of 16. So let's see here. So we just kind of waited for a while, and it started curling back up. Let's see, when did I get out of COTY? I held it for quite a long time. Okay, so I ended up, let's see here, 1612. So, wow. Okay, so I got kicked out right around here. So 1612, obviously, the 16 whole dollar stood, and it just started climbing higher. So there was no reason to stay in that. So I got out relatively early with a small loss, $25 loss basically, because I saw the 16 whole dollar holding, so there was no point to give it a lot of wiggle room. And now the next trade I took, so that was COTY, so SONC. Let's see here. SONC went long at 10. So probably, let's go over to the 5-minute chart here. So, yep. So I went long at 25.21, so right about here. So I was trying to, I noticed that the stock was very strong, and it was pulling back to the 9 and the VWAP. So what I did is I based my risk off of this candle right here. So I got in at 25.21 with a stop at 24.89 with 300 shares. Now, SONC right here. So I sold 200 shares at 25.55 because I saw it kind of curling, and it was more than what I was risking initially. So I went ahead and sold 200 out of 300 shares, and I kept the other 100. Let's see here. So I sold the 200 here, and then as it broke down to 25.50, let's see here. I think I sold it 37. 35, so somewhere in this candle right here. So I saw it coming back down, so I ended up selling it right under the 25.50 line. Honestly, I probably should have held it, but you know, coulda, shoulda, woulda. That's all right. And then realized, let's see here, SONC made 139 on that with all 300 shares. Now the next trade was MS. Was it MS? I think this was, let's see here, MS at 10:04. What did I do? Huh. I think I ended up, oh, actually, no, you know what? I ended up taking another loss on MS. That's what ended up happening. So I was still with this plan of trying to get up and over 50. So I still stuck to that plan. I bought it right at 50. It came up, flashed back down, and let's see here. Within 13 minutes, I got rid of it because it was breaking down again. I think my stop was 49.80, and I got kicked out. but with very good reason though. So I was basing my risk off of 20 cents. So it came up. It almost hit. It almost hit my target, but it flashed up so fast that I didn't have enough time to be able to get a partial or anything. But I typically, after a stock has broken over the whole number, failed, breaks over again, and then fails again, I typically don't really trust the stock very much. So that's something I didn't really take into consideration as much after it had already broken over and then kind of failed pretty hard. So I got out at 49.80, took another loss on that. Let's see here. Now, next trade. Another trade on Netflix. That lags. Now, let's see. I went short at. It says I went short at 100 shares short at 1040. So 1040, somewhere around here. Yep. Breaking down over the $200 mark. I was probably thinking that was going to be, it's finally going to break over 200. It just was not doing it. Sticking it to my plan and, giving it another shot, but it definitely did not work. It flashed down again. So it flashed down all the way down, almost down a whole dollar again. And let's see here. Covered it. Oh, actually I ended up shorting another 50. So 150 shares short around the $200 mark. But it ended up flashing and then coming right back and just kicking me out. I was risking based off a whole dollar, so that was another $150 loss there on Netflix. So I covered all at 201.15. Yeah. So that was 2 tries on Netflix, breakdown over $200. Definitely did not work. So I ended up $225 down on Netflix. Now, let's see here. Buying. That was a buying on Cody. SONC. Alright, so SONC was also on my radar. Somebody had called it out in the chat room, and I took a trade on it earlier, so it was on one of my other charts. So I was looking at the 26, the whole $1.26, since initially I missed this pullback right here. I had bought it down here and sold it here, but I kind of missed this little pullback. I could have bought it here since it held the 9 and based my risk off of the bottom of this candle, which was 25.31. Ended up not doing it. But so what I ended up doing, my next entry would be at the whole $1.26 if it held. I ended up buying 500 shares of SONC 25 or right at 26. Looks like I scalped it right for about 9 cents and just got out. So I ended up with $139 on SONC for the day. Now the very last stock that I took, let's see here, UNH. Somebody had called out in the room. Is a very strong stock. Let's see here. Let me go back to the 5-minute chart here. So very strong stock. Starting off this morning, I initially bought 200 shares at 12:07. So we're starting to get into the lunch hours. I trade a lot smaller size, or about half size, during the lunch hours because there's less traders. Remember that 80% of the market is institutional traders. And so they're basically the ones that are moving the stocks up and down because they're the ones with most of the money. So UNH, I ended up buying at 12:07, so probably right in this candle right here. So at the break of 203, so right at the break of 203, I was basing my risk off of the VWAP, or the 202 whole number, so probably down here. As long as it didn't go below that, I was fine. So bought it at the whole number 203. I called this out in the room There were not a lot of people that I don't think there were a lot of people that took this along with me. But there was definitely a lot of regrets after they saw it take off. So I bought it here at the whole number at 203, and I just held it for as long as I could. I ended up buying it or selling some of it right here at 203.82, almost for 82-cent gain. And I sold off the other. I was trying to get it up above this 204 mark right here, but it came back down to 203. 203.30, that's where it kicked me out. So I just kept moving my stop higher and higher and higher. So it kicked out my last 100 shares at 203.30. Then I bought another 100 shares because I was very determined that it was going to break over this 104 mark right here. So if I zoom out real fast here, you'll see that it kicked straight up past 204 to 204.52. And then it got rejected at 204 again, 204 again. Our initial entry was going to be 204, but it just fell all the way down to VWAP. This is one of the trades that I take all the time. So after I saw it bounce off of the VWAP, I took it over 203. Now, I knew that the other traders were going to be looking at it over 204, so I was trying to initially hold it that far, but I just couldn't to a point where it kicked me out at 203.30. Now, when I bought the other 100 shares, I saw that it was holding. Let's see here. I believe it was right here. So it's like a mini little bull flag, if you can call it that. I didn't know. I wasn't 100% sure that it was going to hold, but looking at the level 2, I could see that it was holding the 203.50. So I went ahead and bought it over that at 203.51. Basing my risk off of 203.24. So at the high of this candle is basically what I was buying off of. So I saw that it was holding 203.50. I went ahead and bought it in anticipation of the break of this candle, and it just kept heading higher and higher and higher. It broke the initial 204 that I thought it was going to, but it actually came back down and flashed down really fast. So my thought process behind this is that it should not break past the 204. So after it did, I chose to get rid of my last 100 shares. I needed to get back some of the money I was down anyways. So I went ahead and sold under 204. It just flashed down real fast, and it just kicked me out basically. So I was just moving my stop higher and higher and higher until it kicked me out. So as you can see, it ended up going a lot higher. I did not think that was going to happen, but you can't really do much about that. But I think I took a pretty good long here at the 203 mark, and it actually ended up going a lot higher. But you can't win them all. But that's my recap. Unfortunately, I was down $151 for the day. It's no big deal. I'm still up on the week. If you guys do have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comment section below. Also, look out for any new content that comes out. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time.